Hello and welcome to The Entrepreneurial Musician, a newsletter, coaching service, podcast, and blog preparing today's musicians for tomorrow's realities. This is TEM282 titled Measuring Your Worth in a Healthy Way. Thank you to Parker Mouthpieces for providing the hosting for TEM. Parker Mouthpieces offers fine, customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz Artist Model Tuba Mouthpiece. You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. TEM has a newsletter. It's called the Portfolio Career Playbook, and it includes the quartet of ideas every Thursday, featuring the tools, actionable advice, and inspiration needed to thrive in today's music business. The next quartet of ideas will feature articles about balancing your various outputs, getting better sleep through breaking your behavior patterns, and much more. Subscribe today, and you'll also be enrolled in a free email course from TEM Coaching called 6 Avoidable Mistakes Musicians Make on Their Website. I made all of them so that you don't have to. So go to signup.tem.fm to learn more and sign up today. Okay, TEM 282, Measuring Your Worth in a Healthy Way. Today is going to be a very quick episode because between teaching at Westchester University, gigs, TEM coaching, and traveling for some upcoming recitals, I'm completely underwater for the foreseeable future. Actually, like January 1st is kind of when I'm going to be able to finally, I think, settle down a little bit. For now, I'm just trying to do whatever's in front of me and realize that there is a finish line of sorts in the distance, and I've got this. I keep reminding myself that I've got this. Today's episode was inspired by Elizabeth Gilbert, the incredible author and speaker. I have started to reread her book, Big Magic, and it really is an incredibly impactful book. It's one of those books where I can specifically remember where I was when I heard a few of these passages in the audiobook the first time. One vividly brought me back to when I was getting on the ferry at Vinyl Haven to go visit family in Maine, and all I know is that when I can remember exactly where I was when I heard something in the middle of a big, long book, it means that that point made quite an impact on me. The passage I wanted to highlight today is, quote, "You can measure your worth by your dedication to your path, not by your successes or failures." This is deeply profound, and it reminds me of something equally profound that I heard my friend Megan say recently. She said that everything in the world falls into one of two buckets: things she can directly control and things that she has absolutely no control over whatsoever. Very little in life is this black and white, and yet this is just that. I can control my effort. I can control my attitude. I can control how often I show up. I cannot control the outcome of anything. I cannot control what you think of my effort or of my attitude or of anything else. This is pretty obvious, yet in my experience, it can be pretty easy in the moment, at least for me, to mix up which bucket something goes in. Circling back to this Elizabeth Gilbert passage, I can control my dedication to my path. I cannot control whether I succeed or fail at something. When I break it down like this, it is pretty obvious that I shouldn't be measuring my worth according to things which are out of my control. That's actually a shockingly bad idea and is not healthy. But that's exactly what we are doing when we judge ourselves based on how many downloads a podcast gets, or on how often we get called to sub for a prestigious orchestra, or on how many students we have in our teaching studio. But I absolutely control my dedication to my path. Like I'm always telling my students, getting good at playing an instrument is not so much about total time spent, but more about sustained effort over a prolonged period of time. That's your path. And continuing to show up over and over again is demonstrating, in a healthy way, a dedication to your path. That goes for learning to play piano or for all aspects of a portfolio career. This was a great reminder for me to not be judging my worth based on successes and failures, i.e., things I can't ultimately control, and rather to judge it by my willingness to show dedication to my path. Profound stuff that I never would have come up with on my own, so thank you to Elizabeth Gilbert. Really quickly, before we get to this week's quote, I wanted to plug episode 201 of the Brass Junkies, the other podcast I do from Pedal Note Media. It featured principal trumpet of the New York Philharmonic, Chris Martin, as my guest co-host. We interviewed one of the most thoughtful musicians I know, and I'm not just saying that. His name is Joe Bergstaller, and he is a very special person. He used to play trumpet in the Canadian Brass. He currently teaches at Arizona State University. There are a couple of things of particular interest to this TEM audience that I wanted to bring attention to, including how he managed to book 20 solo appearances with high school bands while he was still an undergrad. He's brilliant. You can find it by searching the Brass Junkies on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app, or you can head to pedalnotemedia.com, and I will link to the episode in the show notes. Okay, this week's quote is from the Dalai Lama and is exactly in line with what I just covered. Quote, "If a problem is fixable, if a situation is such that you can do something about it, then there is no need to worry. If it's not fixable, then there is no help in worrying. There is no benefit in worrying whatsoever." There are really only two times that I worry. The first is when I know deep down that I didn't do everything within my power to be prepared for something like an audition or a presentation or taking the stage to play something from memory for the first time. That is easily fixable by me, and worrying just puts off doing the actual work that needs to be done even more. The second time when I worry is when I am judging my worth by things I cannot control. What you think of TEM or my tuba playing or anything else is not fixable by me. All I can do is my best and then do my best again. So it's not worth worrying about. As the Dalai Lama said, there is no benefit whatsoever in worrying. Thank you to everyone for listening, subscribing, leaving a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get TEM, and simply for your attention, the most valuable commodity any of us have to give. TEM is produced by myself, Andrew Hitz, and is a part of the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network. The theme music for TEM is played by Ben Barron, Rich Kelly, Daniel Lapel, and myself, Andrew Hitz. For show notes, the TEM blog, and to learn more about TEM coaching, please visit our website, tem.fm. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and sign up for our newsletter. And that's going to do it for the latest episode of The Entrepreneurial Musician.